A
Yes,
very good morning to all.
yes, ma'am.
So should I start, Mr. David?
Ma'am, we'll have an introduction, then we will begin.
Okay. So I
That's fine.
am absolutely elated, delighted to be with the SRM group, and I look forward to a very invigorating session with all of you all.
Yes, ma'am.
I wait to be introduced, and then we can begin.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much, ma'am, for your blissful introduction. A very fruitful Friday to one and all. It gives me immense pleasure to extend you a very warm welcome on behalf of the SRM Institute of Hotel Management, E-Kadatangal, Chennai City Campus, who has clubbed of all of us for the fifth webinar on the topic, Etiquette, a conversation of unspoken professional rules. This is a topic in which we should all be deeply interested. I am David Heisek, head of the department, and your today's moderator. A few words about the SRM group and our institute. SRM Institute of Hotel Management focuses on skill-based international hospitality management, education more than just business management. It has the unique privilege to be a part of one of the premier universities of the world. SRM IHM rewards its initiative, novelty, and thinking outside the box. Our institution is stepping into the fourth year with a first-class architect. Our students are individualists of enormous intellectual energy work with a lot of talent of collaboration and teamwork. The teaching pedagogy is a case-based and adequate practical exposure is provided to the students. We are proud to inform you that our institute was awarded the most preferred hotel management institute award by Asokam this year, 2020. Now, I feel privileged to welcome our executive director, keynote speaker, learner delegates from corporates, academia, colleagues, students, and all attendees. We now request our Honorable Executive Director, Dr. D. Anthony Ashok Kumar, for hotels and hotel management institutes. We need not say about a director. The whole campus is vibrating and echoing his prominence. He shows keen interest in educative process. And please join me in welcoming our Executive Director, Dr. D. Anthony Ashok Kumar, to this wonderful webinar of our City Campus. It is my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome and to introduce our keynote speaker for today's webinar. Dr. Deepa Prasad Venkatraman, Associate Professor, Course Coordinator, Hospitality Trainer, Author, Enology, Department of Management Sciences, Pumba. BBA, Hospitality and Facilities Management, Savitri Bai, Pune University. Your presence makes us very happy on this great occasion, madam. Namaste. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving our speaker a most cordial of welcome. Friends, we are here to meet on the screen. Before I go into the introduction of the madam, I would like to today I saw the status of madam's of the WhatsApp status. She has put on the gratitude. With this note, we would like to have a small proverb on this gratitude on this great morning. Thankfulness is the beginning of gratitude. Gratitude is the completion of thankfulness. Thankfulness may consist merely of words. Gratitude is shown in acts, told by Henry Frederick. In this note, we would like to thank you for accepting our wonderful invitation to give your valuable speech on this great morning. And we have a very great introduction about madam, an elaborate profile, but even I'll take my time to introduce madam on this great occasion. Dr. Deepa Prasad Venkatraman is an hotel management alumnus from Institute of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, Mumbai. A seasoned hospitality professional and educator for the last 25 years. Her core expertise is in the food and beverage service and management. She is a doctorate in management and her thesis was on wine consumption patterns. Dr. Deepa P. Venkatraman started her career with the Taj Mahal, Mumbai, and was been associated with various hotels of the Taj Group as a manager in the food and beverage department. During her tenure with the Taj Mahal Hotel, Mumbai, she was part of the co-banquet team, which won the FHRA Banqueting Award in the business hotel category in the year 1995. Our core strength as a professional has been teaching food and beverage service, beverages with wines, management subjects, international etiquette, communication skill, personality development, and allied subject to graduates, postgraduates, students of Pune University, hospitality sector, educational institutes, and offered consultancy to the corporate sector. She has been authored 4 F&B service book and international etiquette. She was been invited as a speaker in the Orange City Nagpur Literature Fest 2019 for a session on hospitality and etiquette. Currently spearheading as a coordinator for a pioneering course in BBA in Hospitality and Facility Management, introduced under the aegis of Department of Management Sciences, Kumba, at Savitribai, Pune University. In Savitribai, Pune University, she has an additional charge of the facility management of the university, and in the department is charge of entrepreneurship, social responsibility, and cultural and sports of the organizing, moderating seminar, international web series, and panel talk. She has won the awards for the innovation and hospitality sector, an honor for her contribution for the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. At this moment, we definitely applaud you on this virtually. And innovations and research is her domain area, has led her to invite and be part of the international panel discussion in conference, as well as they publish more than 30 research papers in UGC approved journals. Research work and activity is her core expertise, and invited as a jury of plenary sessions for the international conference, is an external member and a research cell coordinator for institutes in Pune. She is a research guide in SPPU for 6 students under the Faculty of Management in Hotel Management, and has 1 student received this doctorate under her guideship. Congratulations, madam. And we hope we have more students falling in the future too. She is involved in active research and innovations in operation subjects and won the Hospitality Educator Award 2019 in Innovations in Hospitality Studies. Currently launched an e-magazine Reflection, which is a linkage with the corporate leaders of the hospitality, their outlook and learning outcomes of the sessions in the department. Our proficiency for total quality management and its applications and institutes has led to being involved in curriculum revision and the formulation for BHMCT 2008 and 2006, and BSc for the 2017, BBA for Hospitality and Financial Management 2018 courses, and MTM in 2020 for the University of Mumbai. As a professor with IQAC and a NAC coordinator, steering a team to receive a grade for the institute to conduct NAC workshop and for the other institutes. She is a member of the Board of Studies, SPPU, for the Hospitality Studies, conducted UGC, HRDC and SPPU Faculty Development Program and Workshop. Member of Committee for the Online Entrance Exam for e-content development for the course, and part of the various committee for the University Administrative Works and Duties. She has a close association and a wide reach with the global corporate leaders in the hospitality sector, retail sector, facility sector, wine industry, and educational institutes, and has offered consultancy services in Mint Hospitality Consultancy in recruitment planning and design, menu matrix and management for educational institutes, university, and hospitality sector. As an outdoor and an adventure enthusiastic, truly believes in adage, in impossible is nothing, and passionate on empowering our students with the professional attributes before entering to the corporate sector. As we are in the lockdown, even madam, the title is given, impossible is nothing. As she is a teacher, she wants to at least come on the virtual and spread something to the world. That is our motive of this great morning. Madam, thank you so much for being on this wonderful screen. Before we hand over to you, may I request my teaching associate, Ms. Tresha S. Kumar, to quickly brief on the housekeeping procedures of this webinar.
Good morning, dear audience. Good morning, Deepa ma'am. It is a pleasure having you with us. Quick housekeeping for everybody. We kindly request you to mute your speakers as the presentation is going on, and we expect perfect silence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and volunteering your time is really great for us. Now, SRM Institute of Hotel Management, Ekatatangal City Campus, and over the session to Madam Dr. Deepa Prasad. And over to you, Madam. The day is yours, and wishing you all the success on this great day.
Um, Thank you so much, Mr. David Isaac. That was a very, very comprehensive introduction. I hope it didn't put the students to sleep because they have very less attention span. Thank you, Mr. Kumar from SRM, to invite me, to the faculty member, Ms. Shishta Kumar, all the other faculty members, and the joy of always addressing is the students. So it's fantastic to be with the students. So before I go ahead, am I audible, clearly audible?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that's to everyone. I think Mr. David Isaac put it very clearly in today's time. There are two things which the two adage which I always adhere to is it's good to know that we need to have gratitude. We need to be thankful each day, which is fantastic. And the second part is, of course, impossible is nothing is something which I always believe. And that I keep telling my students because who would have thought such a situation would have arisen? But we will, we wear around it. And today we have online sessions. So you go to another platform, there's another type of learning, and then we go in. The topic I'm going to take today is etiquette. So I'm going to really, before I go on, I think, sir, who's the host? I need the full screen. So I'm going to...
Full screen, 1 minute.
Yeah. The host...
You can share the screen.
No, if I spotlight myself, just tell me if you can hear me.
Yeah,
yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes.
I like to see my whole self. All right.
Yes.
So we are talking about etiquettes, and there was a big reason, even before I begin speaking about etiquettes, was the color of the book. There's a book which I published, and I decided to have, it's not an interactive session, but if I really have to ask anyone, what is the first thing which will come in your mind when you see this yellow color behind you? What is the first intuition you'll have in your mind when you see a color like that? And I think it's about brightness. It's about ensuring that when you are in a place or in a room, you light it up in your own style. And that's what etiquette is all about. So I'm going to give a little bit of etiquette. My book, of course, Mr. David told to show. So this is my book. I don't know how much is visible with my screen. The guidebook etiquette. It's conversation over unspoken rules at workplace. I'm a very hardcore F&B service person. So I'm now going to teach you today dining etiquettes. You're learning it in school. I will be sending this book to Mr. Kumar as well as Mr. David. I've written 3 or 4 books on service for all the years. Etiquette book in general is detailed about, the name itself is unspoken rules at workplace, because spoken rules are many, do's and don'ts are many, but how we conduct ourselves is unspoken rules. And I'm going to, in the end, touch a little bit also on the current scenario, because I won't say during COVID, post-COVID, etc. Let's assume that life has resumed normally, because that's what it is. It's a situation and we need to deal with it. We need to plod on. And so what are the current etiquettes too? I'm going to do a little bit of PPT. I'm going to talk with it. I would be delighted later. The last 10-15 minutes, have chat. Till then, I like you all to also just keep giving your feedback while I'm taking the presentation or while I'm talking on the chat box. I'll have a look at it and I'll be able to address you. I repeat, am I clear? Am I audible to everyone? Mr. David? Am I audible? I need someone to say yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible, ma'am.
Great. So I'm going to start with a little bit. The word etiquette, where does it come from? It sounds, I have this very dear student who had come from a rural place in Maharashtra, and because I also want to introduce, though the introduction was so long, so I'm teaching. I'm very proud. I'm very privileged to be given the opportunity to teach in Savitribai Phule University. Why I'm saying that, it was called before University of Pune. They renamed it because Savitribai was one of the first women educator from Maharashtra way back in the 1800s, and they decided to rename the university after her. It's a state university, I may it's
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, you aren't audible, ma'am. Hello.
In the NIRF ranking, we've come 9. We are the same level with others, IIT and Jadavpur University or DU, etc. Hello, audible now?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible now.
PPT, wasn't I audible? Hello.
There was some disturbance initially, ma'am.
Yeah,
now you're audible.
I'm just going to share the screen, and I need you to tell me if I'm audible at that time.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, sure.
So I'll just share the screen again and just let me know if I'm audible. Okay, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible now.
All right, maybe there is a bit of but yes, I don't know how much you all heard. I'll quickly, I come from Pune in Maharashtra. As I said, I'm very privileged to be working and starting a hospitality and facility management course in Savitribai Phule Pune University. Why is it connected with etiquette? I'll tell you, because Savitribai Phule Pune University, yes, it is ranked number 9 in India today as a university. Only university, state university in Maharashtra. So it's the top university in India. But it was renamed a few years back from Pune University to Savitribai Phule Pune University because she was one of the first lady in Maharashtra who started education for all the underprivileged and education for girls, which was a movement. So Pune always has a history of intellectual movement which started, and it has come a long way. Today, when we speak about it, why I'm talking again with connecting with etiquette is just a code of conduct. And if I have to tell my students, that is all of you all today, or my participants, code of conduct is not taught in one day. Code of conduct is taught all your life. You learn etiquette from the time you're born. Definitely you learn some professional etiquette and department-wise etiquette when your teachers are the biggest gurus now. The rest, most of you imbibe and also pick up all around. You look around and you pick it up. Each word, of course, which is used in English, and it's a polite behavior which someone is not doing while drawing right now on my presentation is polite behavior among members in a particular group or a profession. So what is polite behavior? Behavior could vary, right? Behavior between a primary student, a high school student, a college student, between faculties in college, between our friends, our behavior varies. So code of conduct, I want to tell you, is when I talk about etiquette or professional code of conduct, we as people or individual people have to realize that code of conduct, we should know what code of conduct to follow depending on a particular situation. Of course, today I primarily speak about professional code of conduct, which is expected at workplace, or maybe which makes you a little more corporate readiness when you go out. But nevertheless, I would still like to tell you code of conduct. So I'll show you some small videos and then we'll talk about the code of conduct, because that may be a more fun way of learning what we're doing. Making positive impression. Yeah. So the moment your teachers tell there's a class on etiquette, you think, "Arey, what is etiquette? I know everything about it." Then you, or maybe you'll Google if this is the first time. As I told you, a student of mine, because being a state university is wonderful. We have students from all over Maharashtra as well as India, and many of them come from very second tier rural cities, etc. It's meritorious. And so he came and said, "Man," in Marathi, he came and told me initially that I can't even pronounce this word. So what is this? I have to tell you, by the second or third year, I think he could have taken the class or presentation to me, because he's evolved as a person on how he has to conduct himself in various surroundings. In the army, when you join, people join from all over India. But if you see them as an end product at any level, whether it is a Jawan to an officer, there is a code of conduct in which they conduct themselves. And you looking at them itself, you know that these people are from the forces because of just the way they walk, they talk, or they conduct. So making you keep hearing in front office that first impression has a lasting impression. God knows if it's a lasting impression. We are on social media now. We're using online mode. Making positive impression is always there. So today when I start the class, before we would say good morning and good afternoon, wish the time of the day. I may still do that now. We as Indians should be very proud, because during this COVID time, almost every type of behavior or conduct, maybe we were taught by our grandmothers or great grandmothers, and we took it for granted. And one of the biggest thing is to say namaste, which now is followed almost in all organizations, not only in India, but people outside of to the person. It's also acknowledging them eye to eye, because when you do a namaste, your hands are folded, you have eye contact with the guest, and when your hands are folded, when we talk about Atithi Devo Bhava and you talk about guest is what we look at, in Namaste says a lot for students. It talks about that you are ready to take care of their requirements or the needs. It's like, we say God, the guest is God, so we're bowing to what a guest requires during his stay or during his interaction with him. So great, start Namaste. But there are also other modes. We in India are lucky to have Namaste. So I'm going to share a small video for lots of students in your informal group. Maybe this is a way of saying hi to each other. So we have elbow shakes now. We have the Chancellor of Germany. Wuhan in China, the epicenter, people have started saying hi by shaking with their legs. Iran, Nigeria have started the same. So football matches or IPL matches, instead of captain shaking hand, they may shake the legs. All right. So we are lucky that we still have a namaste. I think that is a far evolved way of looking, because it also ensures that you have eye contact with the guest when you present yourself to the people. So coming to on a serious note, yes, namaste and namaskar have become popular. That doesn't mean you don't have to wish them in English. You could still say good morning, good evening, but it's also very it's very acceptable for us when we are serving guests in India, just to say namaste. I think it's equally acceptable when we go out. And making positive impression is about greeting a person. So in case of code of conduct, I have only one thing to say, that when we talk to anyone, whether we say a namaste or give an elbow shake or a leg shake, depending on the type of group you are with, please ensure that you have that particular eye contact with a guest or a customer or a participant, because I think that's what really makes a person feel comfortable that you are welcoming them. So there's one chapter about making a positive presentation, how to make an impression, etc. But I'm going to go through some videos and then I'll talk so that it's not a one-way dialogue. I know it's difficult with a big group to have an interactive session, but last in 15 minutes, I will make it. So when you say make a positive impression, what is positive impression? Make an impression is obviously anyone who wants to meet someone, we want to make the person remember us once we meet them. When we make an impression professionally, please remember, today when I talk out here, I'm not Deepa Prasad. Yes, Mr. Isaac was very kind to give a lot of my previous work which I've done in the last 2 decades. But finally, I represent my university from where I come from. And just as y'all, when you make a positive impression, as of now, you're students of SRM College, and tomorrow, whichever organization you work, you represent them. So it's important, it's a personal impression with the label of the organization which you represent. So again, I'm going to just show a small clip. I know a lot of you may have seen this movie, Munna Bhai. Munna Bhai, you know, when you see once and you see twice, even part 1, part 2, has so many small anecdotes which are real which are reality of the way we lead our life. Here I really want to say, because I have worked in F&B service for so long, all of you will go for training. Some of you must have already trained and done your industrial training and come back. We always have stories where we are unhappy, maybe the way customer treated us, or maybe the way the seniors spoke to us, and maybe the way our peers or juniors spoke to us. And then we talk about that, you know, this is not done. Why should I be treated in this particular manner? I always want to tell you, how we treat others speaks a lot about you. Small things are the ones which always make a difference, both personally and professionally. Other day, this is before COVID, when I was walking into a mall, there was a gentleman just in front of me. And the door was, you know, the moment he walked in, the door immediately shuts off. He saw me half coming and I had 2 bags in my hand, and the door literally shut on my face, and he was not bothered. He was talking on his mobile. And I was just thinking, I would not want my students or my own kids to be like that. The first thing I would have done is keep the door open and at least let the lady come in. These are things which must come, something which is there within you. And that will only code of conduct. When I book to my mothers and sisters and people around me, is because this is what I've seen around me, is what you learn around you. And therefore how we treat people speaks a lot about you. A small clip, because, and then I'll talk about it.
डैड ने न्यूज़पेपर मैट्रिमोनियल से मेरे लिए एक लड़का पसंद किया है। वो कहते हैं एक बार मिलो और डिसाइड करो, लेकिन एक मीटिंग में उसे कैसे जज करूं? वो तो अच्छा ही बिहेव करेगा ना।
आदमी को परखना हो तो ये देखो कि अपने से नीचे तबके के लोगों से वो कैसे बर्ताव करता है।
कहाँ से बोल रही हो?
रेस्टोरेंट से। वो अभी मुझे यहाँ मिलने आ रहा है।
अच्छा, वेरी गुड। देखो, अगर वो वेटर को या करके बुलाए तो वहां से कट लेने का। You must be Priya. Rahul.
Hi.
Pleasure to meet you. What can I get for you?
Tea?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 1 cappuccino for me and tea for the lady. Lady? कहाँ जाना?
थैंक्स अ लॉट मुरली। इस छुछुर के साथ उम्र में रहना पड़ता है तो मर जाती।
Yeah, so this is a very small clip. If I have second year and third year students in this audience, and I'm sure faculties who have worked in the industry and now are teaching you will tell that nobody, there is dignity of labor at every level. It's also ironic that many times at the higher icon also we have people who do not conduct and code of conduct, whether he's very junior to you, whether he's a rickshawala, whether he's a peon in your organization, whether it's the workforce, the buyers who clean, whether it is your own peer or by your colleagues, your students, your seniors, ensure that how you treat them, how you speak to them will be a reflection of you. You can only change the way you interact with others and not vice versa. So let the journey begin from you, and believe me that over a period of time you'll see that people around you will also distinguish you for how you treat them. Of course, in hospitality, there is so much we speak about this because we always speak on how you must talk to the customer. I'll go to one level more. It's just not your customer, because when you're working, you're not working alone, you're working in a team. So therefore, it's also how you treat all your people around you will speak a lot about you. For the next etiquette is, okay. So people, now, this is a very Indian thing. I've realized it with a lot of pass from my own end. If I can say that, is that, just a minute, is at professional workforce, when we speak, is how much we should share with our I mean, I can't tell you the amount of stories. They'll tell me one thing and they'll post something else on the Instagram page, or long back it was the Facebook page. And obviously, you know that what they are up to. So today, be careful of what you share. And when I talk about this, I am not just talking one-to-one. I will also tell students out here, because you will be passing out the final year students, the rest of them, that many of the things which you share are also watched by your professional employer on what is happening, or maybe your colleagues who share it with others. And it's not now, but as you climb up, as you grow up the ladder, sometimes the same things come to haunt. So I'm not saying don't share, but one of the code of conducts is be careful, be reflective on what you want others to know about you. You don't have to live on a medium where you have to be an open book and share every moment what you're doing on a particular social media platform, because in the longer run, it really doesn't add up for you. Similarly, also respect other people's space. So if someone is who loves to be on speak about their own personal self, that doesn't mean your colleague, your junior or your senior would also be on the same platform. So there may be some who are very, very, very protective about themselves. There could be some who like to speak at certain times when they are asked. Understand it and accordingly go ahead and do it. I want to again speak a little bit about this, because this, if I have the permission of the teachers, because today with social media, we always tell our students when they go for training to hotels or any other organization, because our students don't only train in hotels. They also train in facility companies, which are corporates. And we also train in various retail, etc. So we ask them to keep a professional space distance with the customers. You cannot add, obviously we give them a professional mail ID, but even in terms of sharing information of their own Insta or Facebook page, we refrain from it. So I would tell you, please ensure that you do not, maybe a customer may give you, if he gives you a card, then it's an official card with an official space. But please do not, when you interact with a customer, male or female, immediately send them an invite to an space which is personal in any other social media. Of course, in professional space, we tell a lot of to our students, because I'm addressing mainly participants or students. You could use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a fantastic way to connect, and that's fine. You could send an invite for LinkedIn. But if you ask me, can I send an invite for a Facebook or Instagram, I would say no. That is not something which you could do, because you're not respecting somebody else's professional skills. I'm talking absolutely professionally. Personally, of course, I'm not, I mean, that's your guidance on whom you want to invite or not invite. So the etiquette of code of conduct in terms of invitation, I would still suggest the best way to connect with people. If you met them in a conference and you really like them, and for tomorrow you want to share something with me or reach me out, other than you, of course, a mobile number. If I share my number, you could call on that, send me a professional mail, or also send me an invite on LinkedIn. This is how it works. Okay. Communicating. So I know that, I'm sure all of you all are finished a semester at least, because that's why you're here today. I'm assuming most of you all are second year students and third year students. So you learned a lot in communication, verbal communication, non-verbal communication, how important it is, etc. It's not what you say, you know, because there's a reason I kept this book name is Unspoken Rules at Workplace. Spoken rules are very defined, you know, the do's and don'ts. It's about unspoken rules. It's not about, so a simple thing, if I say hi and I look somewhere else, if I am wishing a teacher or here a guest and looking at my mobile, hello, how are you? And just continuous texting, don't wish. I would rather say don't wish instead of doing wishing and looking at your being active in your texting or your mobile. It's an unspoken rule. It's something which will be counterproductive for you. It's the same way when we speak. Words have a lot of has a lot of power to it, and therefore it's not what you say but how you say it. So even the Munna Bhai example of how he calls a waiter, it's about his attitude towards another person who's serving him. Because the waiter is doing his professional job, you just raise your hand or you say, can you please call somebody to take our order, is the way you like to say it. People the way you like to be treated, but how you say it, and very important, and all of us will go through these mistakes in life, and we'll rise up and we'll do it again and again. We'll realize it's also when you say it counts. So remember that, just be a little thoughtful before whatever we talk. And especially today in the era of COVID and various web meetings, there are lots of do's and don'ts, etc., which we must follow. What I want to show you, I think most of you know it. It was fantastic to see that at 11. I really must appreciate David sir and his team, that all of them were there. I'm sure there's a lot of background work. We all know as facilitators how it's not so easy to collect everybody in audience together. But I have to say, the students, you were very, very professional. So first impression, I would give 100% to it. So
let's start with classroom etiquette.
Yeah, so I'm
when it comes
some
to Zoom conference, this is our virtual classroom. Appropriate classroom behavior is expected. Be sure to log into your meeting in a distraction-free and quiet environment. Don't rename yourself. Attendance needs to be taken, so no using silly names. Be sure to mute your audio as soon as you get into the conference. This helps eliminate background noise. In order to speak, you can press and hold the space bar, which will unmute you until you release the space bar. Make sure your video is turned on so we can see you. Be sure to be on time. Be prepared with your computer, pencil and paper, and arrive at least 5 minutes early.
Yeah. So that's what I said. Your teachers keep telling you about come to the classroom on time, in a physical classroom. When you come to the classroom, I don't know if your college allows you to get your mobile in, ensure your mobile on in a vibrator mode. Don't talk when someone is taking a lecture, and so on and so forth. It's never ending. Today, with a lot, let's assume that we have gone on an online platform. There are lots of do's and don'ts on an online platform. I think almost the rules are the same. The code of conducts are the same. Punctuality is an important part. Muting yourself is an important part. Speak when you have a time for interaction. Ensure not be disruptive. Here you also have a platform where you can upload videos or put photographs which are not there. I see a lot of students many times not putting the original name and giving some other name. These are all attention-seeking spans. So I would say, again, on a professional, if you're attending a professional online session or taking a professional module, e-learning content, ensure you are, my question to you is, why would you not want others to know who you are? So ensure you go with your name, your full name without any acronym to it, so that a person knows exactly who's on the window screen. If in case of large webinar, you don't have to keep your window on, live streaming of your video on. You can just keep it off and put it on at a later time when you are into Q&A or when you want to ask question answer to the session speaker, etc. So small things are critical today. Also, because we have a time lag, maybe it could be anywhere between 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Sometime if you're going live on Facebook or YouTube, it's almost 20 seconds. So when you finish a conversation, when you finish talking, maybe pause for that particular minute so that you don't overlap with the other person speaking about it. So these are small. But non-verbal communication, code of conduct, non-verbal is obviously body language, how we speak, the way we ask a question. We can know the genuinity of it, or we can create an impression to the other speaker. So please ensure, even in a social media or online platform, that still follows. It makes a big difference. In a verbal communication, it's something you'll learn a lot throughout your school, as well as in HM colleges, about formal letters and the way you want to speak. Today, a lot can say about a person, even the mail he drafts. So we will come to it later. I think it's important that both non-verbal and verbal, you use it. You should know when to use it and how to use it to get your point across to a particular audience. All of us have something distinct about ourselves. So I love to be myself. I love to be Deepa Prasad, because that is what I am. And it is important that each one of us, if we believe in ourselves and if we are proud of what we are doing, that's fantastic. And it doesn't matter. I want to tell you, language is not because that's how we've been brought up with. So having an American accent to be accepted, accent which I have when I go and talk, such communication about. So in etiquette or code of conduct, it's please be natural, what I would say. Important thing is, yes, if I speak in such a manner that a person doesn't understand, then it's worrisome, irrespective of the particular accent which I have. So personalize your voicemail when you're talking. All of us hate it when we call a particular hotel or call a particular banking or a financial institution. You have this very anglicized Western accent. Call 1 for this, call 2, call 3, call 4. And you're not sure, who wants to do that. So voicemails, if you have, put your own voice too. These small things make a big difference. If you're not around and you want your phone to take voicemails, today, of course, we are in the time of mobile. Even in mobile, if you want certain things, customize it to yourself. If it's about a designation, customize it with a designation that I'm so-and-so, please leave a message and I'll get back to you. All right. The preface for it, a lot of organizations nowadays, of course, say namaste or namaskar, or depending on which state we come from, we could also have, if I'm in Tamil Nadu, I may say vanakkam. And so we may again customize it again because it's about reaching your customer and what makes them comfortable. So if someone says vanakkam, if I'm in Chennai, he may be more comfortable than saying in a very anglicized manner, hello, in an American accent and asking what they want. Obviously, these small things go a long way. And sometimes we don't leave a message because they're not really comfortable with what we hear. Emails. So I've talked about communication. Non-verbal is again very, very important. I've told you non-verbal, the way we speak, our body language, our expression, our eye contact, our hands on how to use them is something I know your faculties teach, but it's a code of conduct. It'll be a code of conduct even when you're doing a Skype interview for your training or a Skype interview for today. You may also have a Skype interview for your placement. You're nervous, you don't have to show somebody which you're nervous. If you're nervous and even today I get nervous, if I have to do a huge presentation for a particular delegation, that doesn't mean I have to show it to the if it's boys, you have to take them out or fiddle with them to show your particular nervousness. Politeness and eye contact, I cannot emphasize more. And this is something I really work very hard with all students, both boys and girls, because I don't know, it's a generation maybe which are so tech savvy. It takes them a lot of effort to look you in the eye when you talk. And I don't know why. I'm not saying stare. I'm not saying give the look. I'm just saying that when you converse with somebody, even if it's a prime minister of the country or a delegate, look them in the eye and talk in the right tone which is appropriate for that particular meeting. The moment you look them in the eye, it's one thing which I said. So that's why I said Namaste is still the best, because in Namaste I have everything free. And I can look the person at the eye and then nod or bow down to show that they are welcome. Why you look in the eye? Because that means you're giving them their undulated attention when they are particularly speaking. Japanese culture, for example, when they say aso or greet somebody, they have a very small culture. If they have two people, if the other person is in a higher position, it could be higher position because of age or because of the work. But if an MD of a company is a young person of 30 years old and he has workers who are much older than him, the person who's of a higher stature will go less. The other person, because both of them go when they look at each other. But a person who goes a little more or goes down, bends more, is a person who is of a lower stature. This is again an unspoken code of conduct in us. So I'll come to emails. Email is something which again is a big heartache. Let's assume we are today, professionally for all of y'all, what is the mode of communication for you all? Any mode of communication, most mode of communication would be to going to be employers or maybe asking for sponsorship for some event for college, or it could be for some enrichment activity like a seminar, webinar, whatever you all are doing. Email is still a mode of communication. You are, as I said today, I don't represent myself. You will form an impression about me. You will form an impression about the organization I work in. You may also form an impression about the college I passed out. Everything adds a chip to you in your blog. So ensure your emails are well written, addressed properly. There are spell check. Take that extra effort, because I see students being very, very casual, even when the training is for them or a job is for them. I work very extensively on ensuring your resumes are done in a particular format, because again, it speaks volume about you as well as your particular organization. So they should be treated like a personal email, not treated like when you write a personal email, there are no chatter like you chat on your WhatsApp or your social media. It's a professional letter which all your school time you have learned about. I'm only talking professionally. Today I'm not. If I personally, you could send an email, whatever. Please don't start with hi, etc. Ensure your salutations are there. And definitely if there's grammatical error, I would think the person does not have the effort to write in a particular language. With all the technology today, there is it's not just about spell check. You could even convert it into a proper drafted letter. Learn and draft a letter well. There is a reason when you knock doors today, you may not get a one-to-one access. A well-drafted letter may open doors for you all. A well-drafted letter posted in LinkedIn asking for an invitation will open doors for you. So again, it's an unwritten rule or code of conduct. Well, draft the mail well, ensure it's grammatically correct, know when to write respected, when to write dear, when to write honorable. These are things which go a long way. And how to close a particular letter. Do not treat them like a chatter, and no abbreviation. I keep speaking because the millennials have a very different outlook. They're used to doing this because of your constant texting. Do not get that in professional space. Things haven't changed in such a dramatic manner. Irrespective of there may be a lot of organizations which are informal, but a well-structured letter or a mail goes a long way. So dining etiquette, I'm not going to speak. Obviously, it shows that I'm an F&B service personnel, because dining etiquette is something I feel that all of you learn in college. I don't have to come and teach in the code of conduct. But that the video of the waiter was very, very important, because I see students themselves calling each other with some noises or by a whistle. It's still, I think if I see it in the restaurant, I may just go to a person and say, it's not done. It irritates me so much. But your students, all of us come from a background. So I talk from my own example. I'm used to eating with hand. I'm used to licking my rasam with my tongue, because that's what we do as kids when we eat, right? Would I do that same when I go on a professional space? No. I may still do that when I'm eating my rasam rice at home. But if I go out, I may not. So dining etiquette, I really want to talk. And this is where our HN students do much better than a regular graduate from any of the other industry, is because we are very, we know how to carry ourselves. We are restless or nervous if etiquettes on how to have a cup of coffee. And so even today, be chivalrous. Etc. I would say be chivalrous. Chairs and cutlery and crockery. If you are in HM college, you should know how to also learn how to eat with a chopstick, because again, whether it's Japanese or Chinese, it's popular. I'm not saying it's compulsory. If you don't know how to use it, don't use it. So I have so many videos I always keep showing my students about eating snails, Julia Roberts does. Or of course, this video is about Mr. Bean. I'm just going to fast forward it because this is something I feel It's something taught in college. Okay, so ordering menu, obviously all of us, these are things we're not going to do. If you're taking a customer out, ensure that, I would just say, things which we don't do is that whenever you take any guest out, plan in advance what type of outlet you're taking them in. Ensure that you already know the mode of payment which you're going to do, so that you're not caught in surprise in front of your guest, because you're taking them out to do a deal, to create an impression.
Hello, ma'am. We're not able to hear. Ma'am, hello.
Other day, now this again, of course, I'm talking about before COVID. I went to Marriott's JW match again. You're not able to hear me? Yes. Can you hear the video?
The sound from the video is a bit feeble, ma'am.
All right. I think the video, the sound was not very clear, but that's okay. I just gave an example of Mr. Bean. Dining etiquettes, I'm not going. Can you all hear me now? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Dining etiquette is something which I think taught in college, but I just have a couple of things I want to tell students is, even if you could be a two-end. Either you are a customer yourself or you are serving a guest. In both, understand what your customer requirements are. Again, that's a code of conduct which an organization may not teach you. It's something which you need to learn yourself when you go to a particular organization. If you are a guest, and let me speak because you learn a lot about what you should do as a service, F&B service personnel. If you are a guest and you're taking your team out, normally you're taking a business partner out, is obviously for either ensuring that a particular deal goes through or entertaining them, etc. Always do a bit of groundwork. Do a code of conduct says that if I know that in my committee 8 members are coming, even a small committee, like I'm just giving an example today when in teaching in NAC, because I'm from this background, the first thing I'll see is from which region they're coming from. Maybe ask in advance which they are vegetarian or non-vegetarian, or ensure even have my own belief that maybe a Venkatraman may be a vegetarian, but it's also a good possibility he could be eating a non-vegetarian. Okay, why am I telling that? Even if you go to an industry as a guest, when you're taking somebody out, find out what type of outlet will you take. Ensure that you know the pricing of the dishes over there, what you like to order in advance. All this makes a long deal. How many times each of us have worked in the industry? It could be the biggest person coming, but if suddenly he wants a curd rice and your organization does not have it, he's not worried whether it's Chola Sheraton or it's Grand Maratha, but he will say, oh my God, I want my curd rice to finish off the meal. But you know that that's important, and therefore when you're taking somebody out, you ask them in advance, keep this ready in place, makes a big difference. Another thing is also, if you're HM background, it doesn't matter whether you want to become a chef or a housekeeper. You're spending 3 years or 4 years in a college. Learn a little bit more, know a little bit about the beverages, both non-alcoholic, non-alcoholic also are becoming extremely popular now. The types of tea, types of coffee, tisanes, etc. And of course, I'll come to a subject which I, maybe at some other time, I think I will speak with Mr. David, and I'd like to take a live session of yours. Maybe I'll do a live tour of a vineyard itself. Is about if you're ordering on wines, etc. Know a little bit about it. It's very important. Other day I had gone to Marriott's few months back, and as a guest. And when I asked, so typically now a lot of hotels have recruitment of people from the Northeast. Nothing against them because they're very smart, they look good, they're presentable. But equally important is the content. So when I asked what type of rosé wine you have, there was got me the book and said, pinpoint which wine I want. So that's, so a little bit information is always important. Today, thanks to all the menus are available on the net. So if I'm taking somebody to X amount of restaurant, I could go online, check the menu out in advance, know what the dish is about, think about what I'm going to order for my guest and go over there. Again, unwritten code of conduct. That's what we do when we call guests at home. We are so well prepared. So whether you are a customer going with a group of people, plan, or whether you are a service provider, it lie everywhere. It varies from industry to industry. We obviously are talking about hospitality industry. Post-COVID, there's been so much of change, and obviously, again, we need to reinvent ourselves. It also varies from country to country. What works in India, if I say have eye contact, you're not going to obviously follow that. If you go to Middle East, you're going to have a different code of conduct. And therefore, whenever you're going to an organization or a sector or a country, read up what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Obviously, we don't peck each other in India, but in the Western world, it was acceptable to greet each other. Work in Middle East, only the men hug themselves. So learn up a little bit about it, because that will also ensure that you, when you go to that environment, you are assured what you're doing. I'm going to put this video because this says that when you don't know about what a etiquette or a code of conduct in a country is, you pay a very heavy price.
Sprzedajemy coraz więcej pralek w Indiach. Dowiedz się dlaczego.
Indiach?
If you're going to do business internationally, you should be with a bank that knows about international business. HSBC Commercial Banking spans 64 countries and territories around the globe.
Look at this. The claw machines are like 10 times more than I used to. Have it?
Your business success is out.
So, of course, we Indians are very, very innovative in all. Can you believe it? I mean, who says that a washing machine is only to wash clothes? So if I have somebody in Punjab who sells about 1,000 glasses of lassi or chas, and he decides to use washing machine to do that, and the sales have gone up, so be it. I follow all the particular regulations. So this customer is absolutely, when he goes to do a fact-finding machine in a particular country, that why the sales are so up in India compared to another place for his particular machine, he's obviously pleasantly surprised. He's obviously not complaining because the sales are up. So code of conduct could vary again from country to country on how we present ourselves. It could mean different things to different people in case of etiquette. But by and large, we know that most of the time that when we are trying to communicate, there's only one reason, that it's words, verbal or non-verbal, on how we want to get across to another person. It could be live streaming like we're doing today. It could also be code of conduct without even being in touch with the person. I really want to give an example out here for telephones, etc. Many of us answer back calls. If I'm in a class, I don't take a call. And people know that 9 to 4, that I'm in the session, I don't take it. Therefore, I many times say that I only answer calls, or I'll get back to you between 4 and 5 on a particular time. So have certain code of conduct. It's not written, but at least others are aware. If I don't get a call back in 2 days, they will think, oh my God, this person is rude or is not interested, or it could be some other reason. Therefore, it's important to have some code of conduct which you make other people aware of it, as a manager, as a student, as a facilitator, or even as a faculty, so that people know you for how you treat others. I had one video which I don't know if I've deleted it. There's the last one, and then I'll just speak a little bit if I hold on. Just hold on 1 second. So again, I think what he's doing will work now in today's COVID situation.
Men will be men.
I'm going to stop with that. Today you will learn from your faculties and teachers on various ways of after COVID regulation of code of conduct. Again, it's unwritten, maybe in a what the gentleman did will work in today's COVID scenario. But jokes apart, it's about it's how we again conduct ourselves to someone else. I really like to quote here Einstein, not to take big words. It says that in any situation, try to keep it as simple as possible, because break it into a situation where it's simple as possible. Because when we say, if I don't want to reuse the word, it's when we interact with people. What is etiquette? It's about whenever we are speaking or we are interacting or conducting ourselves with a group of any people, whether it is a society or whether it's a professional group, whether it's a peer group, etc. It's about being able to get across the other person or the group. It's also having acceptability on the way you behave. So one behavior may be acceptable to somebody, it may not be acceptable to another country or industry. So we evolve yourself what works in a particular situation. And at the moment you adapt yourself, it really goes a long way. It goes a long way to take you forward. So even drinking a cup of coffee, for example, maybe if in the South it's more acceptable to drink it in a dabra and a glass. And a lot of old timers may, which again is coming back now for hygiene safety, may drink it without what we say cheapifying, without if that's what an organization or a particular state, then you have to evolve around it. If you go to China and you live over there for many years, you'll obviously learn how to use chopstick. You'll learn the way of greeting, because you know that's the best way to work in that. You learn the work ethics. If you go to Japan, there's no thing about being on time or not. Again, I will give an example. I was in Singapore and I was a guest. And these are stories you must have heard about. I called for a call taxi at 9 o'clock. I was in the lobby at 9 having my breakfast. And when I came out at 9:05 to get into the car, I got a earful from the driver. And he was not polite at all. So I'm thinking, I'm the guest and here is a driver, I'm paying him. But I realized he was right. He said, you call me at 9 and you're here at 9:05. And he said, don't call me tomorrow if you're not going to come on time. And that's what he meant. And if it was another 5-10 minutes, he would have left. And if the same thing happens in India, we will not talk to our customer. We are okay, we'll be apologetic, oh, we are 5 minutes late, because we're used to saying that we are late or have an excuse, whether it's the weather, the traffic, or just we get up late. No, but the code of conduct almost world. Swiss time is Swiss time. It's not Singaporean time. The code of conduct is a time is a time. If I've called somebody on that time, I should be there on that time, whether it's a driver who I'm paying, or whether it's a customer whom I'm meeting, or whether it is my students who I'm going to address to, or whether you are coming to a class to attend to a meeting by your own particular faculty. So this is what etiquette is about. Etiquette is just how we conduct ourselves and how we create an impression for ourselves and our organization. Yeah, I think I'll open the forum to questions. I'll see if in chat box there are any questions, so that I think we can unmute ourselves. Now, this is what it is for me now.
Okay.
Along with questions, there are a lot of things that people have written also. I'll go with the questions. A lot of messages related to etiquettes are there for you.
I'm going through a lot of people from where they are from. It's great to know that people have come from Nepal, tourism management, Mid Bhubaneswar. So these are your affiliated colleges, is it? Of SRM?
No.
From people from Kathmandu and Nepal?
Hello, ma'am, because it is international etiquette, so we had people from all the places.
Oh, okay, that's fantastic. So I didn't really touch too much on international etiquettes in terms of do's and don'ts. I thought it would become too theoretical. I think there was one video which I forgot to show, I think, of an Peel. Do we have time? I know I have shown so many videos. Maybe I'll just show that particular one. And then I will take questions. Just a minute.
Sure.
Of the bank. Oh yeah.
The English believe it's a slur on your host's food if you don't clear your plate. Whereas the Chinese feel you're questioning their generosity. At HSBC, we never underestimate the importance of local knowledge, which is why we have local banks staffed by local people in over 80 countries across the globe. HSBC, the world's local bank.
I think it's a good a video to stop at in terms of saying that we must understand what works. So in this case, if for English, they have to keep the plate clean. In case of in China, you have to have a bit of morsel of food to say that thank you for your generosity for inviting me. So when you take customers out, small code of conduct, if you learn about it, it will go a long way in understanding. Because why do we meet people? It's just not impression, to be effective in whatever we're doing, whether it's teaching, whether it's business, whether it's acceptability, whether it's playing a sport, whether it's a game. I think it's reading up, knowing a little bit of each other's cross culture goes a long way. We have a lot of international students out here, so I thought I must show this particular video. As well as I think in India, we are blessed again because we have so many schools. It varies from one place to another. Again, we must understand and accept and maybe accordingly treat the people from that particular region or behave in a particular manner if we visit that region, whether we go to Ladakh or Northeast, etc. It's important. We can't behave the way we live in our own jurisdiction. Yes, I'll open the question. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. You take question.
Okay, ma'am, there is one question. How do we relate the video in the Indian context?
Which one? There were too many.
I think it was
The
the
last
last video.
video.
Oh, the last video is in the Indian context. All right. So here is an English guy going to China. He's not really interested to eat an eel, but he's given an eel. In England, you wipe your bowl clean, so he decides to do that to show that he enjoyed the meal. It's misinterpreted because Chinese feel a little bit if you're not generous enough. The food was not of enough quantity because one morsel should be left back. In Indian context, if I have a customer who comes here, depends in type of food which I give. What is every way? Social, professional, dining. Again, I have in my book, I have another etiquette only on do's and don'ts, and again, communication etiquettes also are there. If I had to get across, it's an American coming to India, and today, say, he comes to Chennai, and he says that I want to eat the Chennai local food around, or what is most popular known for, and maybe number one, you'll be very happy that if he addresses you by a local dialect and says Vanakkam. Number two, you may give him dosa to eat. Now, typically, he may need a fork and knife to eat a dosa, but you may tell that if I would be him, I would say that the best way to eat a particular meal or dosa is just to eat it with your hand. Now, if he does that, it makes people around comfortable. If he's dealing with people from Chennai, from the locals, because it speaks about him understanding the way you eat, what is your food, or the way you eat it. It also gives you a talking board to speak about, So that's why if I go to a particular country, or a state, I will learn a little bit about their food, their habit, the way they behave, the way they talk, what they eat, what they don't eat, etc. And that goes a long way.
Thank you, ma'am. There is another question. Considering post-COVID-19, it would be great if you could speak a few lines on etiquette or code of conduct, which is the need of the hour.
Yeah. So initially I thought I'll show a video of COVID. Then I thought all colleges are going overdrive in it. I think I have only 3 lines to say, and this is again personal because let's assume there is no pre, during, and post-COVID. This is a flu. It's going to stay here for a long time. Like there are so many other flus where there is no medicine, maybe even a common cold. So what do we do when we have a cold or any other flu? Of course, this has more severe health implication. It's about the way we conduct ourselves in place of others. So it's about personal hygiene, maintaining personal space, wearing a mask, putting a sanitizer is acceptable. So that's why I showed the lift video. Maybe what he's doing is correct. In a lift, you don't crowd yourself. You ensure there are not more than 2 or 3. Hotels do that in an organization. You saw in another video the Vice Chancellor, Merkel, not giving a hand. Ensure you maintain the space with another people. Don't touch surfaces. And also, if you contaminate a particular place, you're putting other people at risk. So here, I really feel where we need to be very careful is that if you have any symptoms, or if you're unwell, or if you feel you're exposed, then ensure that you don't interact with people for some time till you know you're safe. I think that's really important because personal hygiene, precaution, beyond that is the personal integrity on ensuring that, you may not think, okay, it doesn't matter. I don't know. I'm not too sure. I may only contaminate 10 people. Doesn't matter. This is where the increase comes in. So that is something which we must follow. Mask is absolutely, please don't, students don't share mask. It's important. You can be stylish. If your college allows you, decide on what type of mask you want. It's great. Again, hand hygiene is personal. No one can really check. So ensure your personal hygiene for hand and less contact as possible. Here, my students have taught me a lot. Please use of technology in all aspects is fantastic. We're going through a sea change in hotels, in QSRs, and everything is touch-free, which is going to become. Ensure that don't share mobiles, don't share any of the other gadgets which you have, because these are, again, self-inflicted personal code of conduct, and nobody, people will appreciate it because they will learn from you the way you behave. And if you don't need to use an elevator, don't use an elevator. Walk up. It's 3 or 4 floors. We lived in a world without elevators before. Obviously, I'm not telling walk 20 floors, but if you have 4 to 5 floors, then walk up. As don't crowd in a particular place. So small things will go a long way post-COVID. I'm sure colleges are also putting certain protocols in place, but we don't need to. Etiquette or a code of conduct where I don't need protocols. I decide the protocols for myself. So what I spoke about are personal protocols. Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, it's audible. Ma'am, can you take next question?
Yeah, a question of people can interact, because anything on cross-cultural which you want to speak, I want to say that I will be mailing this book to David, sir. I hope he gets these. I'll send 1 or 2 books, get certain copies, because it's not something which you know, but it has a lot of things which we just don't follow. So as I know a lot of things, but we don't follow it, and I've divided the book into technology etiquette, professional etiquette, social media. So I think post-COVID, all this has a more significance. Customer service etiquette, dining etiquette, cross-cultural, and I had some talking point, normal things which we do and which we don't follow. So it'll be fantastic. You know, it's a read easy book. It's a self-help book. It's something which we all know. Everyone tells us you have to wish. Maybe we don't wish, or the way we wish, which means doesn't really signify. It's like an air hostess, you know, when you're getting out of a flight and she's doing namaste, thank you, thank you, thank you, and she's just not looking at you. I feel no need to say thank you at all, unless you are there and you smile and you look at a customer. So if you want to do it in full way, or don't do it at all. There is no halfway. Code of conduct is absolutely personal, which you have to follow professionally. There are elevator etiquettes, there are bathroom etiquettes, there are tea breaks etiquettes, etc. There are so many. Elevator in India, we never allow a person to get off. Even in a bus, we want to come in because we're scared we will not get a place. Please ensure that a person alights first, and then you enter into it. Same even when you enter into a bus. I know we have a fight for seat getting into a bus, so we're not interested in the person coming out. Obviously, I can't follow that. If I'm taking a Bombay train, it's not going to work. So, but if I am in a place, in a mall, or in a hotel, or in a restaurant, or I go abroad, then follow it. I mean, you need to be smart. You should know where to follow it and where you need to survive. Yes, sir.
Ma'am, there's another question. Just a minute. Yeah. As per how will the career opportunities in hospitality industry be in the next 2 years?
Well, I've been doing a lot of webinars on hospitality industry. Again, as I said, impossible is nothing. You know? So instead of saying nothing is impossible, always say impossible is nothing. It's a tough, challenging time for our industry because it's unprecedented all over the world, being locked down, not just hospitality, monuments, the world shut down for almost 2 or 3 months. But we've accepted now, and we are again opening up everywhere. The best thing for students and for us teachers and for colleges we are a service industry. As a human race, we're very social in whatever platform. And we are the only industry with great amount of technology. We still believe that personalization goes a long way. And till we have that, it's a question of reinventing, innovating ourselves, and getting back to the customer. So I had this one chef from Wagamama from London who was talking. I don't know if you all attended the webinar. So he's Chef Eju. He's won the Executive Chef Award in London. So he said, so in Wagamama, I'm just giving an example. They don't have anyone going and taking an order on a KOT. They have an app. You can. It's an app where Wagamama. It's a basket menu. You decide all your ingredients, and then you tell them to cook a dish. That app cooks a dish for you. But even then, they require somebody who goes. What they have done is they've done live cooking in front of you, where a person has a distance, he can see you cooking it, and then the food is come and served to you. So if technology is taken order taking, but there's live cooking still, which is happening, customization, and where a customer comes and serves to you. So I think hospitality industry will just reinvent itself in various innovative ways. You as young students must be, I think what will add to your resume, other than your content knowledge, is being very savvy in how you can contribute with technology to your hotel, to your industry. You would be seeing maybe live weddings, being virtual weddings happening with a certain amount, and then still engage one-to-one with the customer so that personalization remains. Because that's what hospitality is about. You know, it's about personally, it's a make feel good factor. Make feel good factor will only come when there is some human touch to it. And that's also a good thing, because I think this 3 or 4 months we were forced to stay with our family and beyond the
So, ma'am?
Yeah. Yes.
It's audible. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving all the Q&A. Now it is our director is little busy, is hold up. He has just told to proceed with us. Okay, ma'am. And thank you so much. We had a wonderful day today. But as an etiquette, we have to offer you something as an hospitality. But on the virtual, we're not able to do. But when you come back to Chennai, we'll be the right people to extend our hospitality to you when you come onto the live session with our college. And hope we had a wonderful session. Now we take, because the director is not available, we'll have a virtual launch book of yours. Will be first copy will be presented to our director. May I request my teaching associate, Ms. Shrestha S. Kumar, to present the PPT.
That's a very nice and novel concept. See how innovative we HM colleges are.
Yes. SRM Institute of Hotel Management, ECAD Tangal City Campus. That's a virtual launch book presented by Dr. Deepa Prasad Venkatram, Associate Professor, Department of Management Studies, Pumba, presented to our esteemed Executive Director, Dr. D. Anthony Ashok-Kumar, the Etiquette Guidebook, Conversation Unspoken, presented to Dr. D. Anthony Ashok-Kumar, Executive Director, SRM Hotels and Hotel Management Institute, on this great occasion. As you said, the soft copy will be directly sent to our director on this great occasion, who has accepted you as one of our resource person on this great occasion. In this juncture, we need to thank all the students for attending this wonderful webinar. And we have yet another books Madam has also written. We would like to show it to the students for their knowledge, so that they can purchase and get it knowledge. Can you show the next slide, please? Yes.
Please do convey my thanks to Mr. Dr. Kumar. Maybe I'll get in touch with him later. It's a fabulous.
Definitely.
organization to be associated with, and a lot of effort.
Next book. One.
Just a
And as well as students.
The madam is also an author of Food and Beverage Service, Principles and Practices. And you have yet another book.
I'll send all these copies to you, sir. Now things have opened up. I'll send these copies
Definitely.
to you.
Yes, yes. Sure.
You know, one of the kids, Mr. Thakur asked, or was it a student? I don't know. There are etiquettes for guests also. Absolutely, there is. And post-COVID, I'm going to tell you, there are going to be such strict etiquettes because life is important for both service provider as well as for the guest. So if somebody is not following it, I think you will have to just tell them to follow it also.
Next book, madam.
So the next book is actually a workbook, which will be great if you can give it to your students.
Yes, ma'am.
We've done a practical technique book for all 3 years. So
Lovely, lovely.
So that I don't have to have a separate journal for first year, second year, third year. And you know, it's a common topic. All IHMs or us have similar topic. So we've created one complete practical book with the SOPs on, for example, service of water or service of wine, and a notepad on the side which a teacher can do. So that'll be great if you could share it with the students, so that when they go for interviews, they have one book.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. And on behalf of our institute, we convey our thanks. And it was a very inspiring, awesome session. I hope students will definitely benefit from this great morning. And once again, thank you so much for taking your time and being on this virtual classroom. And we also would like to express a gratitude to all the attendees who have been attended this webinar. I hope they would be definitely they would have taken a lot of takeaways from this webinar. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. And we want to thank all our colleagues. We need to thank our institutes who have supported for the technical support. Also, we need to thank our students and all attendees on this great occasion. And this is head of the department, Mr. David Isaac, signing off on this 5th webinar. Have a great and wonderful morning.
Thank you again. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming.